Hey, it's Kevin. Thank you so much for stopping by for another No BS social media chat. You know, it's funny, everywhere I go, people know I'm involved with social media, but not even just people who are dealing with me on a social media basis. The subject usually comes around to social media. Whether we're connected on Facebook, they see something I post, they see something I post on behalf of a client. Whatever it is, it can be in business situations, it can even be in family situations. My brothers-in-law, my sister-in-law, sometimes their kids, we start talking about social media and we get involved in social media. And it's getting tougher, especially for those of us who use social media to whether build a business brand or a personal brand, whether we're using it for business, basically. It's gotten tougher and tougher. You know, 10 years ago when I first started dealing with artists and social media, sure, it was really just MySpace back in the day. There were some Friendster people, but really by that time, 10 years ago, MySpace was it. And it was one thing where you just built a MySpace strategy. Now, as we've added more social media networks, as you've got your Facebooks, we talked to Snapchat, all those things, we get to talking about those networks, those platforms, and how they work and how they don't work. You know, 10 years ago, I'd tell an artist I need 3 things a day, and if you can give me 15 minutes a day for social media, you can pretty much have a presence, do a good job. You know, give me 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the midday, 5 minutes at night, and you've got it covered. Well, as you know now, that's not the case anymore. As more people are now 10 years later involved with their smartphones, always on social media, it never stops, and well, it can get frustrating to people. The time commitment is always going to be the number one frustration to people wanting to use social media as a business. I'll be honest with you, even in what I do for my business, what I do for my clients, what I do for myself, there just isn't enough hours in the day, and I do it for a living. But I think there are some useful skills that, add to the mix. There are some useful skills that are necessary to be able to really become good at social media, and what's that mean? More time, more education. One of the useful skills I'm thankful I got a hold of, so many years, almost 20 years ago now, right around 20 years ago, was learning Photoshop or photo manipulation software. It doesn't have to necessarily be Photoshop. It could be PaintShop Pro, which I also use, and I actually prefer to Photoshop, but I can use them both. Being able to create graphics, to edit photos, to be able to put some filters on things, to change some things up. You know, it's one thing, you can do the regular status updates. You can post a picture from your iPhone, a selfie or whatever it is, but creating more engaging content, creating more creative content to be able to use on these social media platforms. Now that so many people are competing for your eyeballs, competing for, everyone's eyeballs, you got to up your game. And that's the hard part because now there's more time involved. Now it's learning some of these useful skills. And if I could, give you one thing, fortunately, let's put it this way. Now you can get a Photoshop app and you can actually do Photoshop on your phone. I use Snapseed on my phone to do photo manipulation and things like that, and it does a lot of tricks that I used to have to take into Photoshop years ago. There are certain apps that you can play with and have fun with and create, creative yet sales tools, if you will, so it just doesn't look like you're constantly hyping and constantly selling. You got to be creative about it, and of course, what's that mean? More time, more effort, more, frustration. Let's be honest. More and more time is taken up by creating these social networks. And I think that's where we get to a point where people want to jump off, people want to stop. They want to go, you know what, I've had enough, I can't do this anymore, I don't want to do this anymore. And I understand it. I spend a lot of my evenings just tooling around on my iPad, creating graphics, doing some things in some of the apps I've got, playing around with it. I can sit there and have a conversation with my wife, watch television, engage with people even on the phone, whatever, email back and forth. And it's almost like a hobby. It's like I'm just sitting there doing it. I can whip out, 6, 8, 10 graphics in an evening. It's productive. I know I'm working, but it's fun. And for me, that's where really graphic has become therapeutic. I wish I was better at it, I'll be honest with you. I'm good. I've done some, album cover graphics and, digital graphics that you'll see on iTunes that are still up on iTunes to this day. They're not the greatest things in the world. If you want a professional, you pay a professional. If you want to do something that's passable, that you actually get better with in time, and I've gotten better over the course of time, then nobody wouldn't know I'm a professional. I guess I do get paid to do graphics sometimes, so I guess I'm technically professional, but I'm not a graphic artist by any stretch of the imagination. There are people who are always going to run circles around me for that, and I appreciate that skill. But some useful skills, some photo manipulation, learning some of the apps you can use to make your creative efforts on social media step up one step further. It's going to go a long way to help you. I know more time, more effort, but maybe you'll find something you enjoy. And more importantly, it gets your creative juices flowing. And really, that's what it's all about. The more creative you are, the more people will pay attention. Back next week, another No BS social media video right here, nobssocial.com, the website. We've got them all there, all 100 and whatever plus we're up to now. Of course, you can also find us on YouTube on our No BS social channel. Also put them up on Facebook, on our Intensity Media Facebook page. You can find them there as well. Hope you'll stop by again next week. We'll talk more about social media. Thanks. You want me? Email, phone number, don't care. Get a hold of me right here. Phone number's coming up. Thanks.